Grand Risings. So it's the morning after we arrived home early. Yeah. So I didn't get to really document day 5 as accurately as I would have liked to. Hi, have you missed me? I missed you. Beauty. Hi. I see you. I see you too. Anyway, they keep wanting my attention this morning. I have very much missed the birds here. And I couldn't sit in my spot because we've only been gone like 6 days and plants have started growing in my spot. I'm not sure if they're like bluebells or snowdrops. I can't quite tell like what's supposed to come up at this time. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, but I don't want to sit on them and squish them, so I've moved back to the bench. Yeah, I couldn't really document day 5 as well as I would have liked to, or the journey home on day 6, just because there was a lot of having to help Leo and Mallory regulate emotionally, physically, and I didn't want to make a show about how I don't want to make a show of their vulnerable moments in that space. It didn't feel quite right, so I did the odd little bit and then left it at that. But yeah, so day 5 was difficult. It was very difficult because me and Mallory had both had contact from mental health services and other various services. We'd stopped a couple of times just because, let me try and get it in the right order. Mallory had forgotten to take her meds, so she took her meds a bit late, so she was really struggling and she had to keep stopping because she was getting like really irritated with her bag and her clothes and her temperature, and you know, it's difficult being around somebody like, I don't want to make it all about me. It's difficult to know about how to respond to someone in that space. I'm still learning. I'm trying my best. I don't take it personally. The kids, when they're in that space, can get really snappy and hostile and aggressive with their tone. And I know that I have to remember it's not about me. It's not all about me. It's not, they're not being horrible to me. They are just verbally, articulating their distress or their emotions in that moment. And it's not helpful for me to snap back and go, "Do you fucking talk to me like that? Like, who the fuck do you think you're talking to?" That's not helpful. It's not helpful. And they do, quite often apologize in the moment and go, "I'm sorry if I sound rude. It's not you." It's like, it's okay. I know. I don't really want to talk like right now. So okay, that's fine. And it's, I get it. I don't take it personally, but sometimes it is difficult because my automatic response is to try and fix it and go, "Is there anything you can do? Do you want me to do this? Well, why don't we try that? And why don't we do this?" And that's not what they want to hear. They don't want to hear that in that moment. They just want to express how they're feeling and just be left with it. And that's that. So we were waiting for Mallory's meds to kick in. Hey. Robin's missus. And then Mallory was told she'd had a letter at home and to open it, and so she was communicating with her sister about that, because it was an important letter, and she was just wondering if she'd had an appointment that she needed to address. And then she had a message from the mental health support services who wanted to make an appointment as well. So she was getting really overwhelmed, because there was like 2 different people that were messaging her, and it sounds to a lot of people, well, you say you had 2 messages, like, and you're overwhelmed. It's a lot to take in when you're just trying to process your environment. That's all you're trying to do right now. I'm just trying to process my environment. I'm trying to process how my body's feeling. My temperature is fucking not right. My body doesn't feel right. My mind doesn't feel right. Like, you know. And to be fair, that the walk was actually a good distraction. It was actually a good distraction. If she was sat at home, it would have been a lot worse. Because there was quite a few times where she's like, no, let's just get going. Let's just go. And so she had some messages about like an appointment, and she had to try and sort that out. And that was quite overwhelming for her. And it's overwhelming as well because, like, you know, on one hand, it's like, yay, you know, we've got an appointment, finally. On the other hand, like, the amount of times that she's had an appointment or been told to go and see a certain, you know, section of the services, she's got her hopes up, and she's gone to the appointment, or she's taken the phone call, or she's filled in the form, and she's laid out her whole mind, her whole experience, her whole feeling of what she goes through on a daily basis, to just keep being told that she doesn't meet criteria, that she's either, you know, or that we get, oh yeah, that actually sounds quite serious, okay, we'll see what we can do, and then nobody gets back to her, or she's too much, like, oh right, okay, this is quite a low level service, I'm sorry, but we can't help you. It's like, well, these are the services that we've been signposted to, like, from this service, and like, well, we don't know why they've signposted you here. And it's like, so on one hand it's like, yay, an appointment. On the other hand, she's like, well, it's probably not going to amount to much. Probably won't do anything. And it just goes to show, you know, the doctors kept saying, like, oh, you'll make sure you exercise. If you exercise, you'll feel better. She didn't feel better. If you exercise, you'll sleep better. She didn't sleep better. You know, because she's obviously neurodiverse, and it's not just going to go away. It's not just going to go away. And it was quite intense for her. So she was really struggling, and and we had to keep stopping. And then I had contact from services about one of my other children who we were signposted to from CAMS because they refused a referral for one of my children, despite it being quite an intense referral. Like, what was written down was very intense that my child experiences because of their neurodiversities. You know, they have diagnosis of a neurodiverse condition, several actually, and you know, we wrote out a list. It was quite difficult for my child to do that, write out the list of how they feel every day, all day, every day. Went to the doctors. Doctor struggled to figure out how to do the referral to CAMS because I said, oh, well, schools usually do this. Schools shouldn't be doing the referrals to CAMS, in my opinion. They're there to educate, not to medicate, and just when they're taking up their time doing that, that's when they're not, you know, they end up putting more pressure on kids. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that tangent. And so the referral was refused by CAMS, who signposted us to this other place. Well, 2 other places. One of the places I'm not even bothering with because they're not fit for purpose. We've tried them before and they don't work. They're shit. They're absolutely shit. So we went to this other place, and that was in end of August, beginning of September. Oh, I got the phone call, 2 days ago. 1st of November, I think it was. Yeah, it was 1st of November. I can't even remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And she rang up and she was like, "Oh, having a look to the list, like, I'm ever so sorry, but like, we're not a mental health service, like, so we can't really help you." And it was like, well, CAMS have signposted us to you, like. And she's like, well, looking at the list of what you've put and what's been referred to us, like, why haven't CAMS accepted the referral? And I don't fucking know. I don't know. So I'm sorry to sound hostile, but I don't fucking know why they haven't accepted the referral. Probably because of their age, because the waiting list is too long. Because, like, I don't know, they haven't even said why they've refused the referral. I don't know. I said, and please don't tell me to go to this place because they're shit. She's like, oh no, I won't. I know that they're not very good. She says, yeah, I'm not even going to go there. It's like, thank you for not being like, one of the many that keeps telling me to go to this place and it's awful. Anyway, we had all that to deal with and we had to keep stopping. I'm not going to go into the intimate details of all of our lives, but it's intense and it's like this all day, every day. Like, having to speak to somebody, refer to someone and fill in a form and make a phone call and do an email and like, really, all of that is done for nothing. Really. They should be left at home with, like, how they're feeling and attempting to regulate themselves, attempting to do what they can for themselves. And so anyway, day 5, we were having to deal with all of that. And we had to keep stopping, which meant that, like, it ruins your momentum, I suppose. We had to keep stopping, and then we had to keep getting up, putting the bags back on, walking again, and then we'd have another thing to deal with. And hey, Robin. And then Mallory got, like, she checked her phone, and we'd only done, like, just over 3 miles, and she burst into tears. And and I was like, what's wrong? Are you okay? And she's like, no, we're not. We've only done 3 miles. Feels like we've been walking forever, and you really wanted to get to Canterbury, and we're not going to make it. We're not going to finish the walk, and we've barely done anything today, and we're just ruining it and slowing you down and holding you back. And I was like, it doesn't matter. She said, yeah, but you really wanted to do this. And I was like, it doesn't matter. It's just a walk. It's just a walk. It doesn't matter. Like, okay, we won't finish it, but is that a web? I don't know. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, and I got all upset because she was upset, like, because she obviously thought it. I don't know. I don't know why. I just didn't want her to feel like this thing was so important that she had to worry so much, that she had to worry. Nothing's really that important that you have to be quite so oh my god, we're not going to finish, oh my god, we're not going to do that, oh my god, we're not going to achieve that, oh my god, it's not going to happen. And I got all upset and I gave her a cuddle and I was just like, look, it's just a walk. If we don't finish it, we don't finish it. My main priority about this walk was to try and raise some awareness about how difficult it is for people, children, teenagers, parents, to access the mental health services at the moment. Like, and I've been trying to battle this for years now. Years. And it is an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. And I was thinking about it like as we were walking, and I was like, look, I'm so proud of you, like how far you've gone. You've had to regulate your emotions. You've been dealing with your own mental health issues. You've been dealing with your neurodiverse issues. You've been dealing with sensory issues and body issues and all the other things that come with being neurodiverse, and processing all the environment. And even something like, as simple as like the tent being wonky can really freak them out. And they get like really hyper focused on it. And they've done really well. I was really proud of them. And I was thinking about it like as we were walking, that the term like battling their mental health, they're really struggling with their mental health. And I'm quite a believer in how you word things can help how you process things and how you deal with them. And I was like, really, I didn't like the term struggling with their mental health. I was like, well, battling with their mental health. It's like, no, because it still makes it sound like they're not doing well. And actually, what I want to acknowledge is just how hard they work. And that's when I realised what I want to say is like they work really hard to maintain their mental wellness. They work really hard to maintain their mental wellness. And you go to the doctors and they take one look at them, and they just assume that they don't try, that they assume that they could just do better. And if they just did X, Y, and Z, they wouldn't feel like this. And it's not the case. It's not the case. They need support. That's why we're supposed to live in communities. It's why we're supposed to have a good support network around us. And then Leo's hip went again. And again, it was just something simple. Rather than keep taking his bag off, he knelt down to get something, to pick something up. I think he dropped a piece of rubbish, and so he knelt down to pick it up. And it was just the action of standing back up, hip went, And again, as I've pointed out in the video, I think one of the days walking was that with hypermobility, again, people, they might see Leo and think he's really, really strong, and like, oh yeah, he can go to the gym and he can leg press this amount of weight, but it's not about that. Like, it is literally just one tiny action, and it just comes slightly out, and it doesn't matter how much you can fucking push at the gym. It's just that one slight out action, and it's out. It's it's slightly unaligned, misaligned, whatever you want to call it. And so again, like, it's that overestimating and making people feel like, oh, well, you can't feel like that because you can do X, Y, and Z. Oh, well, you can't, like the depression thing. You can't be depressed. I saw you laughing yesterday. It's just like, fuck off. And so that happened. And then we stopped at the church, and I found that bloody book. That got to me. That the grief book. Oh, what a fucking beautiful book about grief, and how it really, really got to me. Really got to me. Like this woman sitting stitching. I'm going to try and put a link to the book in the comments, because I flicked through it, and the pieces that she's made, and then the very simple phrases that she's put next to them. And what that brought up in me was the realization that I haven't fully processed how I felt when one of my children was extremely suicidal. And like, not having, going to the doctors, going to CAMS, going to all the right places, trying to ask for help. making the phone calls, doing the emails, going to the appointments, la 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 la, just to not be taken seriously. Like, well, my child keeps trying to kill themselves. Well, yeah, you've got a safety plan though, haven't you? Well, yeah, but we can't implement the safety plan. Like, I'm one person. I have all these children at home. They all have their own needs, like their own difficulties. Like, I'm only one person. Yeah, but you're coping okay though, aren't you? Well, yeah, but I don't feel like I'm able to. I was very honest. Like, the safety plan's actually quite dangerous. You know, I have one child that keeps forgetting where we're supposed to hide the knives and has turned into a nervous wreck because they feel like if they accidentally leave a knife out or scissors after putting the dishes away, that they are somehow going to be responsible if the other child ends their life. Like, you know, they would come to me like this, like, I've forgotten where we hide the knives again, like, where have we moved them to? And like, that's not okay. And I'd sit there and go, the safety plan's a piece of shit, right? Your safety plan's stupid. Your safety plan, like, I'm supposed to check a 17-year-old's bag every time she goes out of the house and comes into the house. That doesn't seem right to me. I'm sorry, but no. She's got severe fucking mental health issues about being seen and watched and observed and OCD and all these other things, and you want me to be here with her 24/7. Like, at this point, nobody asked me, like, what my working schedule was. You know? And kept telling them that my child slept about 2 hours a night, like, and it was in the night time that they were struggling with their thoughts and their feelings and they would get impulsive behaviors, and they would all of a sudden decide, like, because they had fucking lack of sleep, that they were experiencing, you know, bordering on psychosis. They would get, and they still do, you know, get hallucinations. They don't always know what's reality. They don't always know, you know, they get auditory hallucinations. They don't always know what it is, and it's not good. They would be there in the middle of the night, and that's when they would attempt. And it was looking at that book and realizing how it would feel, that loss, how that would feel. Like, every dawning I would go into their bedroom to make sure they'd taken their meds and try and wake them up, give them some sort of a routine to try and help them as best as I could. And every day taking a breath before I went into their bedroom. Like, they might not be alive when I go in there. They might not be alive. They might not even be there. They might have run off. You know? And that's a lot. I don't know what the fuck services were playing at. I really don't. And I don't want to get into like a whole, like, woe is me, I'm such a victim. It's not, like, at all. Like, it's serious shit. Like, this is a 3D reality. We have these experiences, and we are supposed to be helping each other. And I realized at one point that if I spoke to anybody about this, I was kind of like verging on trauma dumping. And that other people might not have the capacity to deal with what I was talking about and experiencing. But then if I didn't talk about it, like, I would turn up to places, or I would turn up to meetings with friends and I'd be like, hi, hey, how you doing? You okay? Yeah. And they had no idea what I was dealing with. And they would just assume that, like, my life was rosy and peachy and, like, it was easy, and then expect more from me than I was actually able to give, maybe at the time. And so I didn't know how to explain what I was going through to other people. I think I lost quite a lot of friends. Like, I tried to talk to my family about it, and it would appear that they didn't have capacity to deal and process what I was telling them, and they just wanted everything to be okay, which, I can't blame them. It was a lot to process. Didn't really get much support. And so, yeah, day 5 was fucking hard. We were going through all of that, and we were like, that was all coming up for all of us, and we were processing it, and we kept stopping and having little cuddles together, and and Leo was, I'm really sorry about my hip. I'm really sorry about my hip. And I was like, please stop apologising to me. Please stop apologising. Okay. He's like, well, I really appreciate, you slowing down for me. And I really appreciate, you taking me into consideration. And I really appreciate, I was like, well, what else am I supposed to do? He's like, well, some parents could be like, oh, for God's sake, come on, hurry up. Like, what's wrong with you? You could, like, this is my walk. And he was, he did at least acknowledge that maybe not everybody else would have had as much patience. Which was nice. That was nice to have that acknowledged, because it has been a difficult journey. I have had to learn through my children how to deal with this quite significantly, and I'm so grateful, at least, for what it has given me and gifted me. The gift of patience, the gift of tolerance, the gift of not taking everything quite so fucking personally and allowing people the space and time. And I haven't always been that way. And, we had a lovely spot, despite the fact that I freaked out in the night with the tree falling. That was quite intense. It was very intense, like, hearing that tree fall. And then realising I had, like, no plan if something, like, if a tree fell on us. Like, well, I'm not even I can't move us all now. It's like the middle of the night. And I'm not going to know which tree's going to fall on us. Like, I'm just grateful that I've put us in the place where there's only thin, small trees. And it was like, well, there's no point in worrying about it. Like, worrying about it's not going to do anything. I need the sleep. If we're going to walk tomorrow, and I didn't know it was going to be going home at that point. So there's nothing I can do, just go back to sleep. And I gave it to the universe. It's like, okay, I trust that we're going to be okay. I trust that we're going to be okay. And that was all I could do. And I suppose, processing the walk over the last sort of like day, like when we decided, we stopped. We went to a little sort of like pub that was at the start of the next day's route. We had a coffee and we had some toast, and we did all the things that we would do had we started walking again, which was like we refilled bottles, we charged up phones, we had a wash, we checked the map, looked at where we would be stopping if we stopped. Like, this is the minimum we can do, that's the maximum we can do, because like this is where we can camp and this is where we can camp, so this is kind of the only 2 spots we can stop at. And you do have to like really plan ahead and take that into account for the day. And I'm quite good at walking. My body is very strong. It's very capable of carrying a heavy bag and walking and walking and walking and walking. I swear I was made to be a hobbit or something. But they're not as experienced, and they had their other difficulties, and so we did all that. And Leo was just like, no, honestly, like, and he went to the toilet and he was limping just to go to the toilet, and it's like, we're not going to push. If we had have pushed on day 6, we would have been coming home on day 7 anyway. So it is my opinion, and the injury would have been worse. So it's just not worth it. But having taken the time to process, to think about what the walk meant to me. And I mean, it was nice, to be honest with you, to just have a few days without having to deal with services. The walk was a slog, but it was fucking nothing compared to like the dread that I get when it's like a phone call and I have to take one of my children to an appointment and sit there and explain about them like they're not there, like they don't exist, like, and have their whole fucking shit poured out onto the table to a stranger just for them to go, oh, right, yeah, that sounds really intense. There's nothing we can do. It's like, fuck you, seriously. Like, you don't give a shit. You just come into work, you're ticking the box, and you're going home. Like, you see us for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then you get to move on to the next person. This is our life. This is our life. And so I've been processing like just how intense it's actually been for me and the kids for the last 2-3 years. Just how, well, I mean, longer probably, but it's been really intense. And I don't often talk about it. I do often try to stick to the positives and you know, be with Gaia. And she is my love. She's always there. Gaia is always there. Transmuting the shit, taking it from me, holding me, providing for me, nurturing me, loving me. Always. It's like, how have I managed, like, and it was like giving credit to the kids allowed me to give credit to myself, which I don't think people are afforded the privilege to do very often. I don't think people are kind of given the space to give themselves credit enough, you know? People often downplay their achievements, and I don't think we should, if I'm honest. I don't think we should. Like, oh, yeah, well, it was nothing. Because if you actually turn around and go, yeah, actually, what I've created is amazing. What I've done is amazing. Like, I've worked really fucking hard at this, and what I've done is a massive achievement, and I'm really proud of myself. People don't like it. They're like, well, who the fuck do you think you are? Or they think it's like some sort of reflection on their lack, and it's not. You don't be scared to fucking give yourself a pat on the back. Don't be scared to say, do you know what? Yeah, I've done really good today. And it might not be as good as somebody else. It doesn't matter. It's about you, not other people. It's about where you're coming from, not other people. And so when I sat there and they were like a bit disappointed and I'm like, sorry about going home and sorry we didn't finish it. I'm like, please stop fucking apologising. Like, I'm so proud of the pair of you. You've done amazing. We averaged about 12 miles a day. They were carrying a heavy bag. We wild camped 4 out of the 5 nights. You know, without headphones. Oh my God, the first thing they both did, I was like, got my headphones on. Bye, world. I've had enough now. They did amazing, and I'm so proud of them, and I'm so proud of me. So proud of me. If nobody else tells me, I've told me. And it made me realise, like, well, just how have I managed to get through all the things I've gotten through? You know, looking at the woman's book where she's stitched her grief and like watching her, just flicking through and seeing her little grief journey, and like that's how she got herself through it, you know. And whatever word you want to use, I know some people have a massive issue with the word God. And that's okay. I used to have a massive issue with the word God because of the conditioning that I'd had through churches and fucking judgmental Bible bashers that tell you it has to be this way or that way. And if it's like, it's heaven or hell, it's good or bad. And it's not that. It's not that. Like, whatever word you want to use, Gaia, universe, spirit, higher self, fucking life, whatever word you want to use, love. I trust the universe so implicitly. The universe has held me throughout all of this. It's held my hand. You know, it's cuddled me. It's wiped my tears. It's Gaia has given me joy and love and pleasure with the birds and the trees and the beautiful food and healthy, nourishing food and abundance and creativity and music and so yeah, I might not have, had support in other ways. I might not have had support from the services. I might not have had. Oh, I wish you could see how many birds just flew into the tree then. Oh my gosh. Hey guys. Beautiful. They just all flew away again. Off to do their thing. I think it was starlings. I think it was starlings. Yeah, I've not had support from the services. Not a great deal. I'm not diminishing what I have had. And I might not have had a great deal of like actual physical support from, friends. And that's not a judgment. Everybody else is dealing with their own things, and like I've said, there was times when I didn't know how to say what I was going through. And and quite rightly so, sometimes I did say, and the person that I said it to was probably just like, whoa, I do not have capacity for this, I don't know how to process this, I don't know what to do, because we're not taught how to help people through these kinds of experiences. We're not taught how to respond to that. We're not, like, somebody gives you this really intense experience they're having, then you're just like, whoa, okay, what do I say? I don't want to make it worse. I don't know what to do right now. Like, do I give them a hug? Do I just go, oh? And that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. We had a lot of other things happen as well, with various family members, and the kids had a big thing happen with their family members and family member, and it's been difficult for them. It's been difficult for me, but I will say that throughout all of it, the universe has had my back. The universe has held my hand and walked with me and held me, and I'm so fucking grateful. And I'm so grateful for the experiences, because all of these experiences have taught me so much, have gifted me virtues and qualities that I cherish. I would cherish in another person, so and I cherish them in myself. And at the very least, I might not receive those virtues from other people, but I receive them from myself. And I've had support from you guys, like, the amount of beautiful comments I've had, and likes and shares and subscribes, and just, hearing your stories as well, hearing your similar stories, just so we all know that we're not going through life alone. Sometimes it feels like it. It does feel like it sometimes, but we're not. We are one. We are a collective consciousness. We are a collective. And even when you feel like you're alone, you're not. You're never alone. You're never alone. I have missed my garden. I have missed my garden. And so yeah, the last couple of days was very intense, and I didn't really feel like documenting it to a great degree. And I have, asked permission to talk about some of these things before I did, and I'm gonna drop them now. Like this little walk was just I quite often, have had comments in the past about, oh, you're just a trust fund kid. You're privileged to do this and X, Y, and Z, and actually don't ever dismiss just because you see somebody happy and smiling and loving and laughing. Don't just assume that their life is easy, please. Why would you resent someone anyway for that? Why would you resent someone for being happy? Unless, you weren't happy. And then focus on your happiness. And the walk was a very good analogy. And we have come back to more battles. There will be more forms. I do have more phone calls to make and forms to fill in and people to contact and appointments to go to. And that's okay. I will keep working hard and doing my daily diligence. I will keep on and I will keep doing it. And I will keep learning and I will keep laughing and I will keep loving and smiling throughout it all and being so fucking grateful. Although I swear I was far too comfortable in my bed last night. I was going to sleep out on the bench, but it was all messy out here and I don't want to start tidying up because then I thought I'll just keep tidying up. So I was far too comfortable in the bed. I didn't sleep as well as I would have liked. But that's okay. And so thank you for sharing the journey with us. And, like I said, I'm not expecting, I don't want this to be woe is me, my life is terrible and look at what I'm doing and what I'm living through. Like, I'm so grateful for all of my experiences. So grateful. And if anything, it was just an acknowledgement of, other people might be experiencing the same thing out there. Blop. Anybody else that might be going through the same thing, battling services, supporting a loved one through mental health issues. I see you. I see you. I see you struggle. I see you battle. Well done. You're doing an amazing job. And this channel's really helped me to have an outlet, a creative outlet and a place to put my music and a place to share my words and a place to, share my garden and my appreciation for life and love and existence and in all the forms, in all the dirty bits and the smelly bits that people don't like, And that was another thing, Mallory does have a massive issue with, certain actions that are visible on her body. And that's all I'll say about that. But, when we were walking, there were times that she was struggling to regulate her temperature, so she would roll her sleeves up. And there are a lot of people out there that won't be around people with visible, let me see how I can word this, with visible representations of mental health issues. Without using, words that might trigger or say too much. And we'll expect, people to cover them up or will be embarrassed by it or, and that makes me quite sad. People that are shamed for the way that they cope. People that are shamed into feeling like they have to follow X, Y, and Z in order to be an acceptable human being. And whatever form you fucking come in, you're an acceptable human being. I can guarantee you that, okay? So don't let anybody tell you any different. Any different, right? Only you and the universe can judge you. Or God, or spirit, or whatever word you want to use. Whatever word you want to use, it doesn't really matter. It's all the same thing. And so I'm going to end this video with appreciation for my children and for what they've taught me and for how hard they fucking worked. They really did work hard and try hard. I'm so proud of them. And we made some amazing memories. We did have some laughs. We did. And it was nice to see them get home and just be like, oh, my sanctuary. With gratitude to existence, with gratitude for life, with gratitude to God and universe and spirit and myself and Gaia. I won't forget you, darling. Of course not. And yeah. And so this is the end, I think, of me talking about my intimate details of my life and my children's life. Because that's not what I want, that's not what I want to perpetuate. I don't want to perpetuate this idea of, everything's such a struggle. It's just an acknowledgement, Please drop in the comments your stories, if you have any. Just so you all know, you can connect with each other and see similarities and go, wow, I see you, and be seen, And let's just help each other. Let's hold each other's hands. Let's be kind. Let's stop expecting people to fit in these fucking ridiculous boxes. Let's stop having ridiculous expectations on our human selves, because it's not helpful. It's not helpful. We need to start loving more. That's the only reason we're here. We're here to love. And we're here to be. And so, on that note, I send you so much love, so much light, so much gratitude and appreciation just for your being, just for you being you and how you come in this moment right now. Thank you for being and sharing this timeline with me and sharing this time and space with me and sharing Gaia with me and existence with me and my journey and your creativity and your videos. And when I go to open mics, for the people that share their fucking heart and soul on stage through their words and their music and through their friendship. And I love you all so much. Thank you. You beautiful beings. And I hope you have a blessed day. I really do. Yeah. Onwards. I am really going to miss walking today. I'm going to miss walking. Anyway, onwards.